With how crazy popular is, Spider-Verse and Invincible and, a lot of the superhero animation as of late has been, becoming very popular. I think it's fair to ask if superhero animation is actually better than live action right now, in at least the side of the superhero genre, because animation has been, really cooking recently with, like a lot of their products and a lot of their, content, while the live action counterparts have been known to stumble within the last couple of years. If you go back to 2018, Into the Spider-Verse drops, and it shocks like a lot of people. A lot of people, like and me included, I was not expecting the animated Spider movie to go that hard. I mean, it looked kind of lame from the promotional stuff that I had seen from it, but once the word of mouth started going around, and then people started picking it up, and I remember I watched it. It was on New Year's Eve, I think, and I saw the movie, and it was a really special experience in the theater. um but the art style, the heart, and like just the everything that came together in that movie, it just really resulted in a very good, very emotional payoff, and it instantly stood out, not just as like a good animated movie, but like definitely one of the best superhero movies like ever made. And it's in like a bunch of people's top tens list. I mean, if you look at the IMDb top 250, the Spider-Verse is there. And of course, Spider-Verse did also win for best animated feature at the Oscars that year. And because of Spider-Verse's like immense success, and of course, across the Spider-Verse, their success as well, you're seeing a lot of influence of the animation style pretty much everywhere. I mean, you can look like anywhere on the internet, and even the movies that have come out recently, and you'll see some of that influence from Spider-Verse there. Invincible is a great example of how animation can like really go beyond just being something just for kids. And I think Invincible shows that as well as Spider-Verse. It shows that, when these things are done well, both adults and children can consume the content and stuff. Uh, Except Invincible. Probably Invincible's not for kids. But it does, lead you to think like, could something like Spider-Verse or Invincible be done the same way in live action? Not with the same budget, uh, but could it be done the same and to the same effect in live action form? And I don't think you could. I don't think you could without losing something. If you look at, DC's live action movies, they've been, kind of stumbling for most of the 2010s especially. But DC's animated movies, they were quietly going pretty decently hard too. The DCAU, as it was called, they were releasing very consistent movies. You might not think like they're the best or anything, but they were consistent. The DCEU though, it was just going like left, right, up, down, around everywhere. Like the Joker too. I mean, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Joker 2 is a tragedy. But and then just some of the movies that were coming out around that time, the Suicide Squad, Batman v Superman was, a lot of people didn't like that. I mean, looking back, it's not that bad, but at the time it was very, controversial. A lot of the movies that came out, in the DC EU were very, you know, they just weren't, as unanimous as something like Marvel. Marvel was really doing well in the, 2010s, but now they're not going as smoothly. I mean, you look at, something like Captain America 4, Brave New World. Oh man, rest in peace. Um, or the Marvels. That's one I always go back to. But it shows that Marvel's a good decent portion of even Marvel's superhero stuff is going down. So it does lead you to think, seeing that all these live action superhero movies, a lot of them are for the most part not doing too well, but a lot of the animated movies are doing really well. So it does make you think if animation is actually better right now. And I think right now there's a case to be made that it is. I think why animation might have an advantage is that you know there's more freedom in animation. You're not limited by, practical effects, or what a stunt double could do, or what, the CGI might or might not look like. And, the animation, it just allows superhero stories to feel bigger and bolder sometimes, and sometimes can even feel more human, because, it's not trying to be real with the CGI, which you know I've heard, that the best CGI is the one you don't notice. But, in a lot of superhero movies, CGI is pretty much the star of the movie. So you can't not notice it. But I think it does lead me to an interesting point that, there it seems to be this obsession as of late with, turning everything live action. If you look at the Disney movies, a lot of the Disney movies, that have been released recently are just live action remakes of, the Renaissance period classics from the 90s, The Lion King, Aladdin. But it is kind of funny that, Disney keeps on chasing these live action remakes, but it just makes, uh, the animated ones look even better because just because it's live action doesn't mean it's necessarily better. In fact, I think those originals actually still hit harder than the modern day, live action remakes of the Disney movies. And I think it shows that just because something's animated doesn't mean it's just for kids or less cinematic. And I think, things like Spider-Verse or, to a certain extent, Invincible prove that, it can be done well. And when it is done well, there is an audience for it. And I think DC animation, man, I wish more people, gave that, its flowers. But it's still DC, of course, it still has like the legacy of like the Batman the animated show and stuff. So DC is kind of chilling. Superhero animation is thriving right now, and I think it might just be better than live action right now. But do let me know what animated superhero movies that you like, and if you haven't watched Justice League Doom yet, go give that a watch. It's a good watch, and then watch my review of it. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and please subscribe.